If you were no longer affected by the judgment of others and you stopped judging yourself, would you make different choices? Why make choices in your life based on judgments instead of on your awareness of what would create the life and living you desire? Everyone has the potency to make inspired choices. Get ready to listen, share, and experience the creativity that is you. Now, here is the host of Inspired Choices Radio Show, Possibilities Coach Christine McIver. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on A2Zen.fm.
Here we are. We are in the house. We are ready to rock and roll. I just want to give you a warning. Are you ready? I'm a little crazy up in here today. Okay, I just want you to know. I'm just confessing up front. I'm not responsible for what might occur. Okay? Yes, just a little Rhonda. Okay, a lot. Anyways, thank you all so much for coming. I'm thrilled to have you with me tonight, and we are going to have some fun up in here. Are you ready to have some fun? Tonight, we are talking about, do you have the understanding itch? It is going to be interesting. It's funny, and I know if you've been on my shows before, you've heard me say this, but it's really funny and sometimes not so damn funny that my life unfolds the week before around the title. And when I come up with these titles, I actually don't write a whole lot down because when I do, I nearly play the whole thing out in my head. And so I really do kind of put it away and forget about it. And then I look at it come the day of the show and I'm like, oh my gosh, look, I did it again. Or maybe my radio show owns me and I don't own my radio show. Let me think about that and see if I can understand it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. We're going to do a drinking game if you're listening tonight. Every time you hear me say the word understand, you're going to take a drink. Rhonda, my producer, said I couldn't go open a bottle. Rhonda said I couldn't go. She said I couldn't go open a bottle of wine. I think that's cruel and unusual punishment. What do you guys say in the chat room? I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, I am the crazy host tonight, Christine McIver, and I am looking forward to seeing what this show wants to be and what we are going to create beyond this, because it's not always fun to try to figure shit out, right? So before we get started, I want to just talk a little bit about who I am. If it's the first time you're listening, I am a possibilities coach. And what that means is I work with individuals and with groups and companies and businesses to create more that they know is possible. If you're a seeker, if you are frustrated and you are always looking to what else next, how, all of that, that's where I love to bring in my toolbox, which is more like a shed of tools, so that we can work together to create even greater. Because you know why this really drives me? Because I know when you are in the space of creating more for you and you're joyful and you're laughing and you're having fun and you're being all of you, you're contributing to the planet. You're contributing to the universe to create more joy. And maybe I should change my title to the Joy Master. What do you guys think? So anyways, that is really my target, is to bring more joy into people's lives through creating what it is that they know is totally 100% possible, even though they 99.9% of the time have no clue what that looks like. So yes, tonight I'm going to be the Joy Master up in the house. Thank you everyone for joining the chat room. So happy you're here. So besides being the Joy Master, I am also an Access Consciousness Certified Facilitator, a BARS Facilitator, energy healer. I'm a professionally trained life coach, a human resources professional, energy healer, radio show host, and producer, and the owner of this radio station. So welcome to my literal playground. I'm so glad that you're here. There are a lot of things that I do with individuals and organizations. Also, I have a bunch of different creations I just want to touch on just for a moment. I have a wonderful class called Beyond the BS Business Studies, where we look at everything in your business from A to Z, and we look at what's working, what's not working, and where we can expand it in the directions that you desire. I also have a program called Divorce with Dignity. Whether you are looking to move beyond the relationship you're in, or you're in the middle of changing that, or you've already ended the relationship but are yet still emotionally struggling or looking for ways to communicate with your former partner, maybe co-parenting in a better way, I have tools that definitely contribute, and it's one of my most popular programs, in fact. I also have a program called Be the Dominatrix of Your Life, learning to really lean into your life and having everything that you desire, using tools but also following your knowing, teaching you to follow your knowing about your entire life and all of your creations. So if you would like to speak with me about any of these creations, I would love to hear from you. You can contact me, Christine, at inspiredchoices.ca, or you can check out my website, inspiredchoices.ca, or here on the radio station platform, you just look for Inspired Choices or type in my name, it should pop up. So tonight, do you have the understanding itch? Why can't I change this? What's going on? How come they keep doing this and doing that? Why? Do you find yourself addicted to the figuring it out until you're chasing your own tail? If you have ever found yourself not being able to move beyond the itch of figuring it out, you may just be suffering from the understanding itch. Hey, that was good. I was on the ball when I wrote that. So if you feel like you are on a merry-go-round of crazy and you can't seem to get off because you're trying to figure everything out, well, you have come to the master class. And you know I say master class because I'm sure I must have a master degree in trying to figure the shit out. How many of you have been trying to figure your shit out and it just gets stinkier? Tell the truth. Hands up. Come on. Oh, everybody's asleep. See, I took my nap before the call, but apparently they're all sleeping now. Oh, boy. Anyways, I will continue to go on regardless of these buggers sleeping. So, Rhonda says, no, we're drinking. No kidding. So understanding, you know, when we are in that space of, and it feels like a lot of the time we are trying to figure something out. We're trying to come up with the right answer. We're trying to, which direction do I go? Do I say this to this person? Do I not say this? Do I contact my boss? Do I not contact my boss? Should I actually, really try to figure this person out? Should I really listen to all of the news to try to understand who is the right candidate for this political crazy that's going on? Should I watch the news so I can understand why people are killing themselves, killing other people, destroying our world? What is all this understanding giving me? We keep seeking, right? We continue to look outside of ourselves, and we continue to seek what it is that we're supposed to choose, so that if we choose the right thing, we'll have the joy. And we're trying to, it's like we're constantly playing dodgeball, right? When you were a kid, were you ever playing dodgeball? Right, you constantly had to go back and forth so you didn't get hit by the ball. Well, we're doing dodgeball, kind of looking in all the different corners, seeing, is it there? Is it there? What about this? What about that? Oh, I can't understand it. Maybe if I listen more, maybe if I lean in left, lean in right. We are continuously in our heads going around and around and around. And here's the thing, guys. If you don't have, and I'm gonna speak the way most of us were taught, if you don't have the knowledge about what's going on, then you should try to have empathy and compassion and really, really listen to the person and go into your head tilt, eyebrows furrowed, and really lean in and try to listen even more intently to what the person is saying, so your brain can process it and find a reason why the person is choosing what they're choosing, so that you can figure out it must be valuable to them. So I want to figure out why they're choosing it, so then I can choose it, so then I can have more of what they have, because I understand they're happier than me because they're always smiling in their Facebook pages. Anybody? Right? We are looking outside of ourselves to understand the why. And every single time that you step into that understanding the why, you jump back on the merry-go-round. And it just keeps going around and around and around. What were those toys? What were those? They were like a merry-go-round, but they were a playground. A playground ride where you would jump on it. You would run, and you would jump on it, and you would swing around on it. I don't think they have them anymore, but they did have them, and they were one of my favorite things to play at the playground. And I can remember being on it and kind of like leaning backwards and going around and around and around. And I get the Danielle says I get the zebra on the merry-go-round. Yes, because you like to stand out. That's why. You like to be seen, right? Anyways, this apparatus that they have at the playground, when I would be on it, I would actually lean backwards. So I was kind of leaning backwards and looking over my back. And it was really funny. If it was going really fast, I would just see the same things over and over and over again, right? Because I just kept going around, and there was nothing was changing. When you are in the understanding energy and someone is just, saying, let's say somebody's preaching at you, right? They're going to say the same thing over and over again, and nothing is going to change, because most of the time when somebody is in the understanding space, they're very convinced that what they're saying is correct. It's not a conversation, right? Whenever you find yourself in an understanding space, it's usually it's a one-sided conversation. It can be two-sided, but usually it's only one side at a time. It's not really a conversation. It's more of a direction of an opinion. So this place of understanding, we try even harder and harder. It's kind of like you step your toes into quicksand, and every time you try to understand someone more and more, you get pulled down into that quicksand. And when you're deep in quicksand, now, in this body, in this lifetime, I've not been physically in quicksand that you would walk across and fall into. But if I was, I can imagine that it keeps going up. It goes up your body. It goes up your throat. It goes up over your chin. And before you know it, you can barely breathe because you're buried in it. So how many of us have been trying to understand what someone is choosing, whether it's someone in an immediate relationship to us or somebody we watch publicly, and before we know it, we are in the quicksand of their life. We're in the quicksand of their opinions. We're in the quicksand of their ideas. We're in the quicksand of their life. We're in their life. We're not in our life. So we're going to go for a break, and when we come back from the break, we're going to look at what the true meanings of some of these words are, and we're also going to look at what we can do, how we can do this different so we aren't in the quicksand, but we're kind of on the peripheral asking some questions. I would love to hear from you. If you have any questions, experiences, comments, if you'd just like to come and play, I'd love for you to call in the U.S. It's 815-880-8255, or in Canada, 613-800-8736, or you can Skype us, a2zen.fm. And as I said, I would love to speak with you, because a lot of times it's interesting when we actually have conversations how more information can come and be contributed to the show. So I would be so grateful. I'm grateful for everyone in the chat room. If you have any comments, please do drop it in there. So we're going to be right back right after this commercial break. You are listening to Inspired Choices here tonight on a2zen.fm, and we'll be right back.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning into Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices Radio Show.
What if you really do change molecules by your interaction with them? What if the change you've been looking for is right before your eyes? What if the uncomfortableness that comes with difference could be fun? What if the closed-minded people of the world no longer determined our world? What if gratitude trumps judgment every time? What if your kindness healed the world? What if the earth is asking for your help? And what if you had the resources to give it? This is your invitation to step into something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Picasso, Da Vinci, Shakespeare, Aristotle all knew to be true. Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago, I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything changed for me. What if there are no dumb questions, or any question too large? What if you being you are the gift and the change this world requires? Is now the time? For more questions to create a change in your world, sign up for a free video series at beingyouclass.com. My gift to you, beingyouclass.com.
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program today, please call toll-free in the U.S. 815-880-8255, TALK, or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us. Our Skype name is a2zen.fm. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Christine, your host, and we are talking about having the understanding itch, trying to understand others, maybe even trying to understand ourselves, maybe understanding our parents. What about trying to understand your kids? I mean, that alone can be crazy making. But, you know, when we're in this energy of trying to understand, what we're actually doing is we are stepping into someone else's reality. We're stepping into someone else's world. And it's kind of like access consciousness and Gary Douglas refer to understanding. In order to understand someone, you literally have to stand under them. And you actually start to take things into your body when you are working to understand someone. I often liken it to trying to put somebody else's clothes on and fit into their clothes when they are clearly a very different size than you are, right? You try to figure out, why doesn't this fit? Well, when you are trying to step into somebody else's life, joys, choices, things aren't going to fit the same because they're not yours, right? But we have been taught so much that we, look to the people that are successful, look to what they are doing, and then actually mimic them. This is something that is actually taught in, especially a lot of business programs or social media programs out there. It's like duplicate, and mimic more than the duplication. And a lot of people, and I'm sure that some of the people in the chat room will think of names. I'm not great with names all the time, but a lot of people, let's say like musicians and artists and performers and actors, they went about their business, their careers, and their lives, and what they started to do was mimic some people that were extremely professional. And before you know it, they were forgotten about. They were gone because it didn't read, okay? So when you are actually trying to understand someone and then go into mimicking, people aren't going to, quote unquote, see you. People aren't going to, be able to receive your information because it doesn't energetically match. We talk about energies. Energies is what we all are. Everything is made up of energy. Science has proven it. It's a done deal, okay? Whether you've honed that capacity to understand or to get how that works for you, to be able to perceive it for yourself or not, you are always reading energy. You're even reading your own energy. You wake up in the morning and you don't talk to yourself, but you just kind of go, where am I? And you step into understanding where you're at. Well, when we are in this space and we're reading energy, we actually start to, we can see where someone's operating from. We can perceive it, but we don't have to actually duplicate this, right? But when you're not in your own energy, people actually can't, quote unquote, read you. They can't see you. They can't hear you. They can't get the yumminess of who you are and what you're creating, because what's actually coming out of your creation, whether it's a book or it's a painting or it's a class or it's a radio show, what's coming out of your mouth is not your energy. So one of the things that I teach and work with a lot of business owners on, a lot of the business owners that I work with are self-employed, oftentimes just one person, or they just have a few employees creating, and a lot of the times it is they're looking to see what can we create, and they're looking outside. Well, what's this person doing? What's that person doing? Well, how can we do it, but do it differently? What they're really doing is mimicking, and then their energetic stamp is not on it. So when someone goes to choose a radio show, let's say, for instance, with me, they're choosing me. Right? There's an energy of me that they pick up on, whether they know me or not. I've had people before say, I came across you on the Access website and there was just an energy about you. Or I went through your website and it just really, you spoke to me on that website. Well, I haven't physically spoken to this person, but there's an energy of me that I've put into my creations, right? So they can pick up on it. And then when they connect with me live, they're like, yeah, that's the person, that's the energy, because it matches, it reads. But when you are in the trying to understand someone else, you step into their energy and it doesn't match. Your creations don't match, right? So then people can't actually see it. It may be like you're even putting a post on social media and you get no hits on it. Well, check in on the energy of that post. Was that post you? Was it your energy in it? Or were you trying, quote unquote, which is the pretense for actually doing something, were you trying to create something that people would choose? Here's a little tidbit that has started to change things for me. Give up trying to please other people. Give up trying to get people to choose you. Just stop it. It's not changing something. Go out, have fun, play, be all of you, and then watch how things begin to change. I had gotten to that point most recently where I was like, oh gosh, it's heavy to be on social media. And I was like, what is this? Because it's something that I've done for years. It's something that I teach people. And I was looking at some of my brilliant friends, two of them who are in the chat room, Danielle and Rhonda and Keisha, the three of these women, they're brilliant when they're on social media. And I remember saying probably about a month ago to Rhonda, it's like, gosh, I just feel like there's nothing I can say. I just go to do something and it just, I'm empty. I'm a talker, and I'm empty, and it's like, what is that? And I really started to ask some questions around it, and I got it. I wasn't being me. I was doing something, but not being it, right? I wasn't having play with it. I wasn't really asking questions about it and following the energy of when's the time? It's like I would go to reach to do it and be like, no, it's not there. And instead of trying to figure out the why can't I do that? What's wrong with me? Why does everybody else do it? Which will take me down crazyville again, right? Trying to understand it is going to only give me the same information the last time I asked the damn question. Instead of going down that space, I was like, okay, what could I do to change this? And sometimes the what can I do that changes what would probably be my body would be like, let's go have some fun. Let's go play. Let's get out of here. You know, if you're somebody who you're very routined in your life and you are online or you communicate with people, maybe you're on the phone a lot, whatever that is, if you're doing the same routine over and over again, you get into a pattern. It's like walking down the path in the garden, right? And you get into a rut really, really quickly, and you want to change it up. And one of the things that a lot of people are doing are really enjoying a lot of music, or there's some new things going on different apps where you can do karaoke. I know some friends of mine do karaoke in their car, and they're really good at it. I've done a couple, which were a lot of fun. And you don't have to do that, and you don't have to be public about your fun. Your fun could be something like going in the kitchen and creating something amazing to eat, or, coming up with a new cocktail that you could sell to restaurants, or going for a walk with the neighbor's dog and playing. Like, what is it that actually brings you fun and joy? And when you get into the energy of what brings you fun and joy, you're back to you. You're back to you. And then when you start to look at what it is that you want to create, you will be more in the energy of who you are and what actually desires than looking at other people to try to understand it. That's exactly what Christina said. It's also standing under other people's shit and wearing it on you. Exactly. And you know why it's really shit? It's shit, whether you're trying to understand why somebody's angry or crazy or brilliant. The reason it's shit is because it's not yours. It doesn't read. It smells. Okay? The understanding doesn't always have to come at, like you're angry with someone, right? It can be from the space of, I don't understand why they get to create, why they have a lot of money and I don't, right? That person over there is doing whatever they're doing and they're creating a lot of money. And then we go into the beating ourselves up. And it's like, wait a second. They're creating what they're creating because that's what works for them, right? I mean, all of the old sayings that we used to buy into about, oh my God, I don't know why this saying's popping in my head. Only the good die young, or money is the root of all evil, and all this stuff. That justifies. Those statements often justify shit that try to make us feel better because we can't change something. And the idea that you even bought into the fact that you can't change something is a lie. Think about that. Just tap into the energy of that. Does that feel great? Because oftentimes, if it doesn't feel great, if it's not light, it's a friggin' lie. So understanding in the etymology dictionary, to understand is to comprehend or grasp the idea. So if you were going to grasp the idea, you would literally, if you're going to grasp something, you're going to reach out and you're going to hold it, right? Well, if you're holding somebody else's creation, how can you hold your own? How can you receive your own, right? And it actually goes on to say, probably literally, to stand in the midst of or under. Literally says that. I'm like, oh my God, that's phenomenal. It also talks about being comprehension or mutual agreement. To understand is to have mutual agreement. So how much are we actually giving away who we are and giving over our creations for someone else's, or their ideas or their beliefs or their choices, when we start to go into that understanding? Now, if you are stuck in the loop of understanding, why does this keep happening? 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 Is it fun? Is it changing anything? Most recently, when I was in one of those loops, I'm like, okay, this is insane. This is not creating what it is that I want, and I'm sure as shit not happy right now. Screw it. I am going to choose something. I'm going to start choosing, whether it creates something or not, because I'm staying in this loop and I'm not choosing anything at all. And this not choosing anything at all is actually stopping me from creating greater. So when we're in that space of not even creating at all for us, how are we contributing to ourselves, our bodies, the planet, each other? We're not. There are an infinite number of ways that you can be creating and receiving in the world. An infinite number. Now, absolutely connect with someone and receive what it is that they want to contribute to you with their ideas, with their creations, with their thoughts, with their body of knowledge. Absolutely. And then choose what works for you. If you're looking outside of yourself to someone else and you're trying to create what it is that they're creating so you can finally be happy, I will bet money you're going to constantly be coming back to this space. And if you don't know, quote unquote, have cognitive knowledge of steps on how to do that, because this is the way the world has taught us to do it, Jimmy, paint the picture like on the wall, right? That's what we were taught from day one, is to mimic. If you don't understand how to do this, when we come back from our next break, we're going to get into some of the questions that you can start to add into your repertoire to really go beyond it. And we're going to talk about, some of the experiences of being in crazy space with relationships, and not only with yourself but of others, and how that can really take you down a deep, dark path and not actually be a whole lot of fun. So I would love to hear from you. Come play with us in the chat room. Call in, whatever works for you. Post your comments in the chat room. I'll catch up in there in a minute. And when we get back from the break, we are going to dive into how can you create even more and come out of the understanding and more into you. Stop scratching the itch or get some cream. Anyways, you are listening to Inspired Choices here on A to Zen.fm with your host, Christine McIver. And tonight, do you have the understanding itch? Stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning into Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices Radio Show.
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that when run assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bar session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program today, please call toll-free in the U.S. 815-880-8255, TALK, or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us. Our Skype name is a2zen.fm. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Hello. Thank you, everyone, for sticking around tonight and playing in the chat room. Adoring all of you. We're talking tonight about the understanding itch. And before we went to the break, we were talking about you really changing the energy and stepping more into you. Rhonda had a great comment in the chat room. She said, when we are having to understand anyone else. It's a slowing down of our capacities. We're way faster than that with our awareness. Exactly. And awareness and energy and following both of those can create what it is that's asking to be birthed from you. I was talking to a friend the other day, yesterday I guess it was, and she's actually the creator of a book that I'm partaking in. And she was really, really stuck with part of the creation. And I just, as I do when I'm working with someone, I was just very straightforward and blank with her. And I said, did this creation come to you? Did all of these authors choose to work with you to create this book? And she's like, yes and yes. And I said, so why are you using someone else's title and someone else's vision of this book when it actually came to you, right? So she was trying to find the right one instead of following her knowing, the right title and the right pictures and so on and so forth. And I just squarely put it at her, and I'm like, what are you doing? What in the world are you doing? Who are you being right now? Are you giving? And here's another big thing that we do is we look to somebody else. It doesn't damn well matter who the hell it is. Whether it's your boss, it's your parents, it's your lover, it's the president of the corporation, the country, the world, and we give it's like we're ranking. Well, that person's bigger than me, therefore their knowledge, their thoughts, their opinions are more valuable than mine. So they must be right and I must be wrong. I call bullshit on that, right? So that's what I was doing. I was saying, that's bullshit. This is your damn creation. Speak to it. Allow it to speak to you. Ask some questions. Ask some questions. How many of you have been out there creating something based on this is the way you're supposed to do it? Hey, if that works for you, fill your friggin' boot. But if people aren't showing up, you might want to ask, is my energy in this or someone else's? Does this smell like me, look like me, taste like me? Or is it something else? If you have a lover and you always show up a certain way and then suddenly you kind of change your look or you change the way you're talking or you change the way you're interacting with them, your lover might go like, who the hell are you being right now? Because I don't know this person, right? You've really got to look at, are you being you when you're in this place of understanding, right? Yes, there are times when we need to receive more knowledge, more information, absolutely. But you wouldn't receive that knowledge, you wouldn't garner more of this and then turn around and duplicate it exactly, because it is not you. How can you, a creation, a relationship, anything, really be birthed with you all over it and really expand and be so generative that it creates something different in the world when what you're doing is someone else? You're mimicking someone else. You're duplicating someone else. It can't, guys. It really, really can't. Now, it may appear, you may find that you create something and then you see it, somebody else doing it exactly the same way or very, very similar, and you think, oh my God, was I trying to, why is this not different? It doesn't matter. Just check on it. Does this feel true for you? I know I did that when I first started the radio, big time. When I first started doing radio shows, it's like, oh my gosh, okay, this is how you do it. Right? And I train all of the radio show hosts if they don't have any previous training when they come on the station, and I guide them. Okay, this is how you do this. These are examples. These are samples, okay? And then they make it their own. They put their own words into it. They deliver it their own way. How friggin' boring would it be if every host that you're listening to on this amazing station, by the way, how boring would it friggin' be if we all delivered the same way, if we all thought the same subjects were what was important? Who the hell would listen? I would get bored of my own show if I was doing it somebody else's way, right? So Faith had a fabulous question. She said, is understanding, is it functioning from what you already know instead of being willing to receive something new? Well, Faith, what do you know? What's true for you? A lot of the times, what it kind of sounds like what you're saying there, it's like functioning from what you already know. It's like repeat, putting it on repeat and repeat and repeat, right? Are you willing to receive something new? Are you willing to ask the questions and allow the universe to contribute to you? And the universe could contribute to you through other people. It could contribute to you through giving you an idea of a new creation. It could contribute to you by having fun in your relationships. It can contribute to you in many, many ways. Are you willing to receive more? Maybe when we're in that space of trying to understand, we've actually thrown up our towel and went, okay, forget it. I'm just going to try to understand everybody else, and I'm going to do it their way, and then I don't have to work so hard. And maybe that's true for you. And if it is, good on you. But if it's not, if it kind of gets heavy and it gets like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, right? Is it because it's no longer true for you? It's no longer being generative for you and contributing to your joy. Here, guys, here's what I absolutely know. If you're not doing something and there's not joy in it, doesn't have to be 100% joy, but there's not joy in it, if it's not speaking to you, if it's not getting you out of the bed when you're exhausted, please look at it. You pulling your ass through your life is not changing the world. You didn't come here to duplicate everybody else and just be a number on the wall. You came here to be you, to be all of you. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you're a radio show host, if you're in any of the programs that I'm in, involved in any of the businesses I'm in. Don't, please, please, please do not mimic other people. Be you. Even if only 5% of you is in it as you begin, it's okay. Keep asking questions. So one of the great questions that I absolutely love to ask is, so if I was being me, what would I choose? If I was being me, what would I choose? And sometimes when we're in that really heavy, I can't figure this out, I just don't know which way to turn space, just asking that question, if I was being me, what would I choose? And allow yourself some space. One of the keys, at least that work for me really, really well, is to go for a walk or to get in the tub. Doing those two things oftentimes really gives me space very, very quickly. And laughter, of course. Laughter always gives me a great deal more space. And then I can ask that question. So when I'm walking out in nature, and a lot of you have seen some of my clips of me walking in nature, when I'm out there, I'll ask that question. If I'm being me, what would I choose? And I may not get information right away. I may not get a thought or an idea pop in, but I will move into that direction. Energetically, I will start to sync my energy more and more with me and more with my creations that are asking to be. Now, if you're in a relationship with someone, and you're having arguments with them, or you're both trying to make a point, or you're trying to, oftentimes we say we're trying to make our point, we're trying to follow our truth, but oftentimes what we're doing is we're trying to get them to agree and align with what we're saying, right? Well, what if you were just to be like, okay, cool, that's what works for you, and you allowed them to have what they have, and you say, well, this is what works for me, all right? If it's not something that's life-threatening or critical, what are you doing in this push energy of trying to make someone understand you? Now, there's a phenomenal tool in Access called manipulation. I guess it's not in Access, but Access talks about it a great deal. And at first, I resisted it massively, and now it's one of my most favorite tools. And when I especially was having some challenges with my now adult daughter when she was in her teens, and she would go off, like, how young teenage girls sometimes can be, like, pretty intense. I would say to her whatever was required to change it. And most of the time it was, you're right, I'm wrong. You're right, I'm wrong. You're right, I'm wrong. And I'm telling you, every single solitary time that I used that tool, boom, it changed it. It changed it. I didn't need to understand what her deal was. Okay, it's not to say that I don't need to understand where she's going and is she going to be safe and does she have a ride home and all of that. That's gathering knowledge. That's gathering information, right? But understanding why she needed to flip out and why this was critical and all the other blarney that went along with it wasn't necessary. And all she really needed, and what a lot of people need, is for to be heard, to be valued, and to be seen. Okay? So a lot of the time, ask yourself, is this even relevant to me? When you're in an argument with someone, is this relevant to me? And another one, and then we're going to go for our break, another one that is such an amazing tool is, and we use it all the time, we see it all the time, but what else is possible? I love adding on to that, what else is possible here that I've never even considered? Because if I've never considered it before, guess what? I'm not going to go into my brain, which is my recycling system, right? Because the brain only can recycle what's already there. So when you ask that I've never even considered, what I'm doing is I'm actually asking this of the universe. I'm asking for a contribution. And do you know what, guys? To create a contribution, all that's required is to ask. So we are going to go for our last break of the night. When we get back, we're going to wrap this up. Thank you, everyone, for joining and playing. And I wonder what else is possible now as you begin to step into the energy of you to receive more of the brilliance of you waiting to be birthed into the world. You're listening to Christine McIver on Inspired Choices here on A to Zen.fm. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning into Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices Radio Show.
Do you know a child who is frustrated and disruptive in class? Who struggles to connect? Who's bright but still not making the grade? Have you ever wished that there were a kinder, gentler way to support children with difficulties in school or at home? Many children find access bars is benefiting them greatly. A study is being conducted to document findings in an effort to assist kids everywhere with these life-changing benefits. Will you donate and help to assist kids thrive? Visit www.accessyourbrilliance.com to support our study. What else is possible for kids now more than ever?
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program today, please call toll-free in the U.S. 815-880-8255, TALK, or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us. Our Skype name is A2Zen.fm. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Wow, I absolutely adore my radio show. My radio show has its own energy. It's its own entity. And what cracks me up is many, many times I have no idea what's going to be said. And here we are with just over 5 minutes left of the show. And it's like, I didn't stop talking. There was no dead air up in here. It was phenomenal. And, of course, everyone in the chat room and anyone sending me questions, you always contribute to the show. And I'm so, so grateful. Thank you very, very much. So I want to tell you about some creations that I'm in the midst of, some of the classes that I'm holding. The next event that I've got coming up is actually on Friday. So today is Wednesday, August the 3rd. On Friday, August the 5th, I threw together this impromptu call and it's called I Dare You. It's a gift call from me. It's 1 hour. We're going to do a Zoom call. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite people into playing with me in the I Dare You. Did you ever do the Truth or Dare when you were young? Well, it was the energy of that. It was like, hey, what if we actually started to strengthen that choosing muscle, right? So I really, really want to play with that and really want to invite people in to have some fun. For goodness sakes, we need to have more fun in the world. And this is one way that I think we can have some fun and possibly step forward to create more of what we want in our lives. So we're just going to talk about, I'm just going to ask a couple of questions, and then we're going to go through it, and I'm going to kind of be like the guru in total playful way and say, I dare you, and I'm going to come up with dares for everybody. So I dare you, all that are listening, to come and play with me on Friday, August the 5th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's going to be a Zoom call. So jump over either to my website, inspiredchoices.ca, or to Facebook, and you can get the registration link there, and you're all good to go. We're going to have so much fun. And the next class after that is I am doing a foundation class, the foundation, which is the Access Consciousness class that really, truly changed my entire life and my business and most certainly my relationships. I am facilitating that class with a friend of mine, Dee Hughes, who is my host in Kitchener, Ontario, August the 19th through the 22nd. If you would like to join us, you live in that area, or you'd like to travel to the Kitchener area, it's wonderful. It's a beautiful time to be in Ontario, and we are going to have a lot of fun with this class, and we're going to change up some stuff, baby. We are. If this call was listening to you or this show was speaking to you at all, imagine 4 days of me. I mean, seriously, how could you say no, right? Right, everybody? And then on September the 16th through the 19th here in Toronto, I have the honor of hosting Danielle Carter, who is going to be doing the Right Body for You class. It's 2.5 days. It's a phenomenal class. I think this will be my 5th time taking this class. I'm so excited because each and every time that I take it, I create greater communion with my body and more play and more laughter and more joy and more and more and more of everything in my life. It's not about the size of my body, babies. It's about really creating with my body, and my body contributes to my business, and my body contributes to my relationships. My body contributes to everything in my life, and the more I'm embodied with this body of work, it just makes me so happy. So Danielle is going to be coming to Toronto, and she's also going to be doing the facilitator class on the Monday, where you can actually do taster facilitator classes with this body of work. You get a manual for both the 2.5 day and the facilitator class. And let me tell you guys, I've taken a lot of classes in my life, and I have said this before I was even good friends with Danielle, the best damn manual I've ever seen. The best. It was done extremely well, and Danielle's delivery is off the charts. So would love to have you join us. If you can't make it physically, great news, it's going to be live streamed. So I would love to see you playing with us and having fun and really, really, really unlocking all the crazies that we've been projected at us about our bodies, and showing you how your body is the magic in your life that maybe you haven't ever been invited to look at. So there's what's going on in my world. I also do private sessions with individuals, whether it's one private session or I have different packages, to help you really look at what's not working and seeing if we can come up with tools that really can change things for you. So before we go tonight, I just want to ask you, if you were being you, what would you choose? If you were not making anybody else more important than you, if you were trying to understand what the right question was, and you were really asking for more awareness, universe, show me what else I can be choosing here that would create greater for me, and you really worked in concert with the universe, with your awareness, with your energy, what would you choose? You being you in the world, just like the book Dr. Jane here wrote, you being you in the world always will create greater. And you know what? Who it will create the greatest with It will create the greatest with you, because you, my friend, are the greatest gift ever to you. And if you're having a hard time seeing that and looking at that, please connect with me. I would love to contribute to you and seeing if we can change that. So thank you, everyone, so much for connecting tonight. I adore each and every one of you. Please be sure to come back next week where we'll have another show where we'll be playing and laughing. And you might be asking, what will Christine's Crazy be this week? Thank you, everyone. Remember, you can always make another choice.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Inspired Choices Radio Show. Christine McIver will return next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on A2Zen.fm. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have the best week of your life by making the choices that bring you all that you desire.